Hoop fam, what's going on? Hope everyone is healthy. Hope everyone is safe. And thank you for walking with me as we talk about some of my favorite moments in the NBA playoffs. And now, since round two was actually scheduled to start this week, I want to take some time to highlight some of my favorite plays from round two. And this first play actually took place 25 years ago today. And that's Reggie Miller scoring 8 points in 9 seconds to catapult the Pacers to a win over the New York Knicks in game one of the Eastern Conference semifinals in 1995. And before we start talking about the play, Hoop fam, let's take some time to talk about Reggie Miller, because he certainly deserves some recognition and some props from us, Hoop fam, because he was an amazing player. During that time, in that early to mid 90s, you had the Knicks, the Pacers, and the Bulls sort of competing for Eastern Conference supremacy. And more times than not, obviously, the Bulls would come out on top. And of course, the Bulls were coming out on top because they had Michael Jordan. But with that being said, Reggie Miller, unfortunately, played during the Jordan era. And not only did he play during the Jordan era, he actually played the same position, that shooting guard, that two spot, as Michael Jordan. So some of his accomplishments and his impact on the game can be overlooked. But before we start talking about this play, Hoop fam, do your homework on Reggie Miller. I'm a footwork guy, so to be able to shoot the ball with the accuracy that Reggie Miller displayed, you had to have incredible footwork. So again, as a footwork guy, watching Reggie Miller work and square up on the right foot, etc., it was incredible for me to watch. And it resonated with me. And I wish that I could shoot the way Reggie Miller was able to shoot his jumper. The other thing as well is, if you may not pay attention to his left hand, but when you watch his follow through, which is his right hand, his follow through was textbook. So again, that made that accuracy that he often displayed, he could replicate that over and over again. So he deserves a lot of credit for that. Certainly got overlooked in the Jordan era because he played in that era, but also played the same position as Jordan. And one of the other things I want to talk about as well is he actually, with the way that he played in his body, if you looked at how skinny he was, people would often assume that Reggie Miller was soft. But he actually played through contact and sometimes initiated that contact. I remember one year in the Eastern Conference Finals, he actually pushed off of Michael Jordan and made a game-winning jump shot to push the series to a decisive seventh game. I believe that was in '98, where he made that shot, won the game, pushed it to a seventh game against the Bulls in the Eastern Conference Finals. And he actually pushed off of Michael Jordan. And of course, in this play as well that I'm going to talk about, there was some contact also that you could argue that Reggie initiated. So for a skinny guy playing in the contact era, he actually dished out his fair share of contact, and he withstood and absorbed his fair share of contact as well for a guy that was slight of frame. And last thing I'd like to say before we get into that play with Reggie is he was in impeccable shape, because he's one of the masters in terms of moving without the ball and understanding how to free himself when defenders actually try and deny him the ball and they become physical with him and get into his body. Reggie was able to find ways to get open, and he was perpetual motion, constantly moving, constantly trying to find the right spot, using screens, setting great screens, all of those different things he did, absorbing contact, using footwork, and also having incredible stamina. So he deserves a lot of recognition for that as well, Hoop fam. So getting into this play, or this sequence of plays where Reggie scored the 8 points in 9 seconds, when you watch, one of the first things he did, I want to talk about this, Hoop fam, on that first three, as we're setting this up, on the first three that he made, again, if you are selfish, you should always set good screens. And here's the point, because if you set good screens, and certainly not saying Reggie was selfish, I'm just saying, if you're selfish and all you concentrating on is scoring, set good screens because you'll get open. He set a great back screen and got open for the first three using great footwork, gathered himself, shot the first three, bang, he nailed it. Then on the second three, he actually came, and some could argue that he pushed Greg Anthony off. And Greg Anthony ends up on the ground. The ball gets thrown in anyway, and Reggie steals the ball, takes a dribble, looks down to make sure that he spots the three-point line, squares up correctly, and hits another shot. So that's 6 points. Then he gathered a rebound on the defensive end and went to the free throw line and made 2 more free throws. And so that made the 8 points in 9 seconds. He also, in that sequence of plays on the defensive end, the Knicks inbound the ball. Greg Anthony got it. Greg Anthony is a lefty. So Reggie Miller, not known for his defense, known as an offensive force and a shooter, not known as a defensive guy, he actually picked up Greg Anthony and he impeded Greg Anthony from getting to his strong hand, which is his left hand, and forced him to his right into the help. And Greg Anthony lost his footing again, and that ended the game. So again, incredible sequence, incredible plays by Reggie Miller, not only displaying his shooting prowess, but as well playing through contact, setting screens, playing defense, and also gathering a rebound in traffic, which is important for a guard to do, important for a skinny guy to do. So shout out to Reggie Miller, second all time on the three-point shooting list for three-point field goals made, and doing that largely in an era where three-pointers weren't featured. So shout out to him for that. 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA, Hall of Fame inductee, Reggie Miller. Props and respect on May 7th, 2020, 25 years to the day for your great sequence of plays in 1995.